Welcome to this English tutorial, which today is going to look at how to write about dramatic devices with a particular focus on an inspector calls. So in this tutorial, I'm going to remind you how to structure points according to my specific formula. I'm going to remind you how to embed quotes into your paragraph. I'm going to explain how you can analyse a dramatic device. The dramatic device I'm going to look at relates around how the inspector only shows the photo to one person at a time. So this is a dramatic device specifically decided upon by Priestley to have a certain effect, and that's what I'm going to look at over the next few slides. So the first thing I want to talk about is making a point. One way that you can go about making a point is to observe something in the text. So here we can see the student has written, the inspector only shows the photo to one person at a time. But this is a very low-level skill. This is just observing something that is actually in the text. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't set up a debate or an argument. So I'm going to look at ways in which we can improve that, okay? So first of all, this is a simple observation. Secondly, the focus here is on the character, not the author. And as students of English, we're looking at how a writer has used methods to create certain effects. So by focusing on the inspector, we're not really doing our job. And this observation doesn't have a reason. Therefore, there's no debate. There's nothing for us to prove as students of English. So I've rewritten this to something that would be much more suitable. Here's what I've written. J.B. Priestley uses stage directions and dialogue to show the inspector only allows one person at a time to see the photo. This creates mystery and tension as the other characters wonder if they know the dead girl. Now you can see here the focus is on the author. The method is identified, the use of stage directions and dialogue. And this observation is followed up by a reason. Now it doesn't matter that the observation comes in one sentence and the reason comes in a second sentence. That doesn't matter at all. The fact is you've made a clear point which you now need to go on and prove over the course of the paragraph and the point. So the next thing I want to talk about is embedding quotes. This is really simple, and in actual fact, this is more of a style point than anything too technically demanding. If we look here at the quote that we've been using, J.B. Priestley uses stage directions, blah, blah, blah. I've added the quote in here by embedding it. So in red, we are told that both Gerald and Eric rise to have a look at the photo, but the inspector interposes himself, which shows that. You can see that I've rolled that quote into a point that I'm trying to make. If we look at the other way that this can be done, which is more of a clumsy way, some students say things like, this is shown in the line that says. Now, there's nothing dramatically wrong with this. It's more that this embedding of a quote reads nicer, it adds to the fluency of the piece, and it suggests to whoever's marking your work that you have a good control of language when you can embed the quote in without the need for any unnecessary sentences. The final point, and probably the most important part of this tutorial, is how to then go about analysing the dramatic device that you've selected. So here we have our P paragraph so far. Now, I'm going to use the phrase interrogation here because what I do when I sit with the student who is stuck, who at this point says, well, I don't know what this shows. If we look, that's where the paragraph ends. I don't know what this shows. And as a teacher, I ask questions like, well, why has Priestley done this? And the student may give an answer. I say, okay, that's good. But how does it present the inspector? Remember, that is the question. That's the essay question. How is he presented? And they'll give me an answer. And I say, that's fine. Let's carry on. What does it tell us about the other characters involved? Well, here we've got Gerald and Eric. So although the focus is on the inspector, what does it tell us about them and their behaviour? I can develop this further by saying, right, okay, does this link in any way to the play's themes? Take it further still. What about another way of looking at this quote? We know that in analysis, we don't stop at just one reason. We keep saying why. What else is going on here? What else can we uncover? What's your personal opinion? What do you think about this quote? And then finally, we could say, or we could ask, does this link to any of the contextual factors we know about in terms of this play? This is how a full paragraph might look. I'm not going to read this out. If you want to read this, it'd be a good idea to pause the tutorial at this point and give it a read. You'll see that I've numbered the lines that correspond to the questions that I've asked of this quote and this point to interrogate the paragraph. So go ahead and pause the tutorial now and have a read. Okay, so just to recap then, a point can be made up of an observation plus a reason, which will set up a debate, keeping the focus on the author. Try and embed the quotes that you have, try and embed the quotes to show that you have a good command of language. And finally, the really important part, where most of the marks are, is in your interrogation of the quote to develop your ideas. And take risks at this point. If you are just practicing these exam questions and essay techniques in class with a teacher, take risks. If you're wrong, it really doesn't matter. It's not your exam. You're not going to lose anything by taking a risk. And in actual fact, you might be really surprised when you get your essay back, if you have taken a risk, that your teacher says, fantastic, these interpretations now are much more perceptive. Good luck. I hope that helps you. If you're in my class, I look forward to seeing your essays very soon.